What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and continue learning about proof that Canada is very different to the rest of the world. Part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, feel free to go check that out or stay right here in part 2. That's fine as well. But in part 1, I started looking at this collection of photos which shows what I can only describe as the most Canadian things I have ever seen, which also includes a lot of really, really funny stuff as well. So I'm very excited to continue examining this proof that Canada is very different. So let's take a look. Picking up where we left off, we have only in Canada. Only in Canada. And yes, I agree. This appears to be a moose in a frozen swimming pool in someone's backyard, and a bunch of Canadian men kind of huddled around, wondering what they're supposed to do. Or maybe they're just taking pictures and admiring. Somehow, I did a meme review video where there was also a moose in a swimming pool. And now there's another moose in a swimming pool. I'm starting to think this is just a common occurrence. Like, actually, only, like, this should say meanwhile in Canada, not only in Canada. Just moose sitting in swimming pools. And people, what can you even do at that point? Because it's not like, I feel like the moose gets to do whatever it wants. I don't know what you're going to do to get it out. Maybe just sit by the pool, become friends. I don't know. But yes, only in Canada. You certainly don't see this in the United States. I don't know if Americans would find this very, very fun. I think Americans would think this is amazing and hilarious, but then if the moose is like making it a common thing where it's only always in your swimming pool, eventually the joke runs out and you're like, okay, please, Mr. Moose, please, can I just use my pool again? All right, and next we have, by quite aggressive, we just mean they become a hell spawn. I think we're talking about Canadian geese. If we're talking about hellspawn, we're talking about Canadian geese. I know that much. I've also heard them called cobra chickens as well. It's a sign for geese, as not all Canadians are polite. Please do not approach the Canadian geese, as they can be quite aggressive if you get too close. And by quite aggressive, they mean hellspawn. The funny thing is, in America, we have geese and ducks and stuff. We have geese by lakes, and they're very, like, friendly. They don't attack you and bite you, and a lot of Americans feed them bread, and they don't really hiss at you, and I don't know what it is with the Canadian geese. It's like all the negativity and evil that would have been in the humans of Canada, the Canadian citizens. It's been sucked into the geese. That's why Canadians are so wholesome and kind and polite. All the negative energy is in the geese. That is my new theory. And Americans, like, we actually do need signs like this, because I would definitely have gone up and tried to feed the geese, or not pet it, but, you know, I would have, like, Americans would probably let their children go up and, like, examine it. But in Canada, that's actually straight up dangerous. So this is much needed. This is what happens when a Canadian parks in your spot. Canadian conflict. Parking in your parking spot. Dear number 3, I apologize. Wow. I apologize for parking in your spot. Please accept this drawing of a spider as a plea of forgiveness. Yours truly, number 15. It's a spider. It's a very happy spider. Very cute. I don't know if I would offer complete forgiveness for taking my spot for this spider. Maybe that's the American in me. But it would help. It would help ease the pain. The fact that they're even trying to ease the pain with the spider drawing is very Canadian. I'll give you that. Coyote crossing the street in Ottawa following the rules of the road. Yeah, Canada is different than the rest of the world. The animals obey traffic laws. Coyote, are there coyotes in Canada? I didn't even realize that. Apparently in Ottawa, this is scary. It looks like a wolf. but it's being so polite at the same time. Very Canadian. I like it. Happy Canada Day. Here is the most Canadian photo I ever took. All right, so this is a sign. It says, "This pathway is not lit and not monitored. Use at your own risk." Sorry. It's the sorry. It's right, it's kind of not Canadian in the sense that they're saying this pathway could be dangerous. Maybe at nighttime it's not lit, no one's around, could be dangerous. You might feel uncomfortable. The sorry. The sorry is like, I have literally never seen a sign in my life that just said sorry. That is basically the most Canadian thing ever, right there. Okay, only in Canada. Only in Canada. This is a series of signs and symbols. Let's see if I can interpret this. It's a man using the urinal, and it's saying, don't use the urinal next to another person, which is weird, because if there's no space, that's kind of what you have to do. And then, no, no moose are allowed to use the urinal. I was wondering about this. I'm glad this sign cleared it up for me. The moose are allowed in the swimming pools, just not at the urinals. That's good to know. Is this a real sign? Is it supposed to be funny? It looks real. I'm guessing it is funny. And it is only in Canada, that's for sure. Very good. Canadians seem to have a very good sense of humor with a lot of this stuff, and the signage, like saying sorry, no moose allowed at the urinal. That's good. I like it. Makes life a little more fun. An officer saw a toddler driving his truck, pulled him over, and gave him his first ticket. Fort McMurray, Canada. Did he really give him a ticket? Well, then this... He pulled him over in his little truck. See, this is more of what an American cop would do. Would be like, hey, that's a child having fun in a little toy truck. Pull him over and actually give him a ticket for $500. But I feel like this is more of a, like, all in good fun kind of thing. Or if this was truly only in Canada, then you'd think he'd just let him off with a warning or something, a friendly traffic violation. This young Canadian's already going to have a record at such a young age. Unfortunate, but good that Canadians are stopping those reckless drivers out there. How to tell you're in Canada. Lot to dissect here. It's a bench, half in the shade, half in the warmth. Wow. Wait, what? How can it be this different between shade and sunlight? It's actually got snow on the left side, and a guy who's in a very good mood because he's in the sun, very warm. That actually melted the snow just because of the shading of the house blocking the sun? This doesn't even make sense to me. How does Canada defy the laws of temperature and nature and science? I don't even understand, but... Just looking at this bundled up Canadian on the left. Canadian in a shorts and t-shirt, which I've seen some Canadians wear in the dead of winter on the internet, so nothing shocks me about this anymore, but it's really more that this is possible that shocks me. Wonder, how is it so much colder in the shade in Canada? Canada, you have some very cold shade. That's what I learned today. They waited at the corner on the sidewalk for traffic to stop. Oh, these are Canadian geese behaving themselves. Then they used the buddy system to cross when the walk signal flashed. Overly polite animals. Oh, I mean, at first glance, but I've heard too much about the Canadian geese to think that they are absolved from all their sins just because they're using the crosswalk. That's a start. That's a start for Canadian geese to make it up to the Canadian people, but using the crosswalks, but not enough. My darling upstairs neighbors. Okay, this is a note to the upstairs neighbors, which if you've ever lived in an apartment building with noisy upstairs neighbors, everyone has wanted to write them a mean note at the very least, because all upstairs neighbors seem to be practicing juggling bowling balls at 3 a.m. at some point and dropping them on the floor. Anyway, a Canadian writing a note. My darling upstairs neighbors, I hate to do this. I really do. However, your late night/early morning weeknight activities are becoming a bit of a problem. One of you has been engaging in activities that cause squeaking bed noises. I would like to request that these activities be moved to more reasonable hours. This is the most reasonable, articulate note of being mad at bed squeaking noises that I have ever had the pleasure of reading. They're actually making suggestions. That's the funny part. They request these activities, whatever they may be, who knows, may be moved to other reasonable hours, or they be moved to the floor. Be moved to the floor. C, they stop. Not advised. Or D, they move to the weekends. My sleep time will thank you. Please, it would be so appreciated. I can make you brownies or cookies or something. Please, please, please. Wow, this is very reasonable and probably very embarrassing for the people upstairs. Or maybe not. I mean, if they're making an absolute racket with their activities at all hours of the night, they deserve to be a little embarrassed. You gotta be a little, aware of your neighbors when living in a apartment building or what have you. But this note is very, very polite and to the point. And it makes suggestions. I love it. Very Canadian. The American version would just be like, stop! I hear you. I hear you in the night. Stop. I'm watching you. That would be the American version. Just make them as uncomfortable as possible until they stop. Or take your broom and smash the top of your ceiling with your broom to mimic your version of the noise in retaliation. Anyway, not that I've ever done that. Definitely. Never thought about doing that ever in my life. No, definitely not. What else do we have? This is a picture of a statue holding a Canadian flag, and a note says, Happy Canada Day. We will come back tomorrow and take down our flag. Oh, they hung a flag up in the park. And they actually wrote a note, a very nice note saying they'll be back to pick it up. Canadians are very kind note writers and very, very aware of communicating to other people. It just kind of shows me the difference between Canadians and Americans. Americans are much more selfish or less empathetic. We don't really think about others as much, like writing a note, letting people know, hey, I know I put my flag up, I'm gonna come get it later, don't worry. Americans would never do that. Canadians just seem to be a little more conscious of communicating and being polite to others, which, yeah, makes a lot of sense. And I love the notes. What is this? Proof that Canada is very different to the rest of the world. It's a man walking in the snow in a jumpsuit with goats. Are there goats in Canada? What is this? What's going on? Typical Canadian Thursday. Guy leading his goat herd through a town in Canada. Nothing to see here. Just normal activities. Okay. What else? Other proof is a moose in a swimming pool. Another moose in a swimming pool. This is an above ground, inflatable sort of swimming pool, but a moose in a swimming pool nonetheless. It's like the Canadian people have some kind of blood pact with the moose, that they may use their swimming pools when no one else is using them. That's what I like to think, anyway. And yes, I've never seen a moose in a swimming pool in my life, and as soon as I'm seeing the Canadian proof that Canada is different, I'm seeing all the moose in swimming pools. Okay, Canada at its finest. Canada at its finest, and it is ticket and money on the windshield of a car. Says, nobody deserves a ticket. When Team Canada wins hockey gold, no way. No, no freaking way. This is amazing. This is the most Canadian thing ever. Like, this is proof No, I never in a million years, in America at least. Someone actually saw someone get a parking ticket and they left money. Because Team Canada won hockey gold. There can't be tickets in this world when Team Canada wins hockey gold. I love that. That is so wholesome. That is so nice. And it's also just like a cool, like, Canadian to Canadian kind of bonding thing, like community. I love it. This is and nothing that would ever happen here. This is too funny, too wholesome. Wow, what is this? Road rage in Canada. We have a car on the sidewalk. Then there's a note on the windshield. It says, "Don't park here, please." don't park here, please. The very, very tame, very polite, very calm response. Very Canadian response. Car is literally on the sidewalk, not even on the road anymore. Please don't park here. I mean, hey, that's all that need be said. Your car is literally off the road. It's on a public sidewalk. Please don't do that. And Canadians are responsible enough to be like, you know what? This note is right. I should not do this. I'm sure that's how it went down. Okay, a sign you're marching in Canada and what appears to be some kind of protest or parade and and the signs that they have that they are waving are being held up by literal hockey sticks. That is that's almost too perfect. I mean, it's also very practical. Like, if Canadians, what do you have? You need a stick object to hold your sign up. Hockey stick. This is like too perfect. A sign being held up with the hockey stick in Canada. Yeah, Canada, you're different than the rest of the world. Only place on Earth where you'd have your signs at your parade held up with hockey sticks, and I love it. I love it, and it's very it makes sense. It's practical. Like it just makes sense. I discovered a conspiracy while looking around northern Canada. Christmas will never be the same. This is northern Canada, Santa's workshop. I learned Santa is Canadian. Santa has a workshop in Canada. Illuminati HQ? Wait, what? Wait, why? Santa's workshop and the Illuminati both live very close to each other. They're like neighbors. Interesting. What's going on here? Wait a minute. Well, as long as Santa keeps churning out, merriment and gifts for the people of the world, they can be neighbors with the Illuminati, I guess. Is this really what it says on Google Maps or whatever? Like, actually? I'm actually curious. And it is suspicious, if true. But who am I to question Santa? Saw a beaver on his way to assassinate someone. Is this real? Oh my god. I thought I just had to be afraid of Canadian geese. This is the Canadian beaver, the symbol of Canada, with what looks like almost a samurai sword. How did he even get this shaped sword or knife? He really is off to assassinate someone. I thought Canadian beavers would be kind of nice, kind of cute. This is a bit scary. And, but still, like, this belongs in the file. Like, this proves Canada is different in a way I never imagined. You gotta be careful what animals you cross in Canada. My god. Imagine the moose did this and were in your pool. You'd never get your pool back if the moose were in there and holding a sword in its mouth. Good luck. Only in Vancouver. Oh, it's another beaver. Only in Vancouver does a beaver block the Tim Hortons drive-thru. What's he doing? Get your order in, man, and move. Like, come on. I didn't know the beavers were making such a ruckus in Canada, assassinating people, holding up the drive-thru. I'd just be like in my car honking, like, get your order in, man, and move along, please. We don't have to stand here all day. Let's be reasonable, beaver. Are there beavers just walking around in Canada? I'm a bit confused. Because now it's been a couple photos where I thought beavers were in the woods or building dams by streams. No, they're at Tim's drive-thrus, apparently. What? Meanwhile, in Canada, support our right to arm bears. No, wait, no. You know, I'm an American, and famously, we have our right to bear arms that we so fervently defend. But the right to defend, the right to arm bears, now we have to talk. Like, I know Americans can be a bit unreasonable with the gun ownership and our bearing of arms, but we're arming bears. Please, let's talk about this for a second, please. I don't support our right to arm bears. Is this a big Canadian political movement going on, or I'm a little confused? Oh well. I'm scared. I'm scared of all the Canadian animals today. You're already arming beavers. The moose are taking over the pools. Now you're arming bears? Like, I don't know what to think. And actually, that's it. That's the last one. Very good. I don't think I'll ever be the same after this video. This was by That's Right. I gotta give it a like, because this whole collection of photos proving why Canada is just different to the rest of the world in the best way possible. Sometimes in scary ways, I learned. That's something I learned as well. But usually in just the best, most wholesome, awesome ways. This video just kind of highlighted a lot of... I don't know. I don't know what it highlighted or what it taught me. Taught me that Canada is a bit unpredictable. And there's some weird stuff. But I honestly enjoyed it. It was very entertaining and funny at many times. So this collection of Canadian photos needs to be archived in a museum or something. Because this is what people need to study 1,000 years from now when they're like, what was Canada like? This set of photos right here, for sure. Definitely encapsulate Canada. But maybe by then the beavers and the armed bears will have taken over. So what's the point anyway? Either way, I enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment, perhaps with your thoughts on some of these photos or this proof of why Canada is so different. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and Canadian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.